Looking for a car dealer that actually feels like your hometown? Welcome to City Chevrolet of Grayslake, where the vibe is friendly, the pressure is off, and you'll always be treated like family. Meet Anthony Scala. He's just not the owner. He's a guy that grew up in the car business, worked his way from porter to owner. Anthony believes in people first. That's why City Chevy sponsors your kids' teams, your town events. And matter of fact, this show, they give back every chance they get. Anthony thinks that the experience of buying a car should be fun. No pressure, just honest people who care. Whether you need a new Chevy, a quality used car, or just service you can trust, City Chevy is here for you. Come visit City Chevrolet of Grayslake right off of 120. And thank you for sponsoring our town, our stories, our voice. Let's get after it, Grayslake. Grayslake Rehabilitation Center is a community-based private practice physical therapy provider. Do you know they have 13 clinical providers with various levels of specialties, including orthopedics, sports, neurology, vestibular, geriatrics, pelvic floor, and aquatic? What? Did I just say they have a pool? Well, they do, and it's the largest indoor warm water pool in Lake County, featuring 2 underwater treadmills and swim currents. And recently added clinical treatment specialties, in layman's terms, Shockwave. They have both radial and focus units that are the newest tool in regenerative medicine, available to everyone. They pride themselves on the most current and up-to-date specialized care to keep you moving. If you're looking for physical therapy, make sure to see our friends at Grayslake Rehabilitation. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Discovering Grayslake. I'm so happy to be here recording again at Agora Co-working. Agora, as you know, if you've listened to any of these shows, Agora is on the corner of Centre Street and Atkinson. It's a co-working place, so if you guys are looking for a place to get your business out of the house for a day, for an hour, for a week, or a lifetime home, Luke over here is a great dude, and I'll be happy to help you out. So shout out to Agora for having us here. So I'm not going to mess up your name because you helped me. So I'm here with Alan and Ziggy today.
That's
Alan,
right.
How are you, buddy?
Hi, Dave. Nice to see you, and hello, Internet.
Yes. So actually, it's funny that we, just as we sat down, we went over just a short thing of all the people from Grayslake that we, just the Grayslake people that we know, what we have in common.
Right. I was living in Grayslake the last, 15, 20 years, and my family lives in Grayslake. My mom does still, even though my dad passed away. And I've been active in the Grayslake Exchange Club for a long time, so that's how I kind of got to know the people in, business community, stuff like that.
Right. Okay, so when I got arrested for the third time, when I called you, and then I called you, no, I've not been arrested.
I would not
times.
be able to disclose the details unless you told me it was okay. So just let me know, and I'm happy to. But we have attorney-client confidentiality, which prohibits me from talking about it.
Which means all the fun stories that I want to ask you about to tell me today, you can't.
I can tell you stories, but I can't say like, hey, my client Sergio, guess what happened?
Right.
I can't say that, but I can say I had this one guy and this one thing. I can do that.
Right. He looked a lot like Mike Steiner, but
nobody looks like Mike Steiner. No, but Mike Steiner is like
Mike Steiner doesn't even look like Mike Steiner.
10. He's like a 10 to me. He's like maybe mistaken for George Clooney from time to time.
He gets that a lot, I am sure. Shout out to Right at Home, by the way, one of the sponsors of the show.
He's an okay dude.
He's great. Okay, so Grayslake Exchange Club, but what is your job?
Okay, I'm a lawyer.
Okay. What kind of a lawyer?
Okay, so my background's as a prosecutor. And when I was a prosecutor with the state's attorney's office, I guess I'll answer this in a long-winded way. The easy question is, I tell people at Christmas parties, like, what kind of lawyer are you? Divorces and DUIs. Okay, because that's an easy way to break down family and criminal law. Those are my 2 specialties. I'm in a law firm called Johnston, Tomei, Lenczycki, and Goldberg. I'm one of the founding partners of that law firm, and we do everything collectively. I have a partner that does real estate. I have a partner that does business formation. I have a partner that does wills and trusts. We do probate litigation, foreclosures. We do all kinds of stuff. But my particular role at that law firm is family, so your divorces, child custody, child support type cases sometimes, and then also criminal cases. And like, I have a murder right now. So everything from murders down to traffic tickets and suspended licenses.
Is that normal for, because this shows how much I know that, is it normal for an attorney to have such a broad range of things like that?
So for me, I want 2 things, so 2 things is pretty normal. If you're a guy that only, let's say only does criminal, it's, I don't know, you people do that, but I like to have a second sort of type of case because sometimes it ebbs and flows in what you're getting. The family law cases are hourly. The criminal cases are a flat fee usually. Both are great. The family law cases are more I guess, intellectually and emotionally challenging sometimes, which maybe surprises some people. My criminal cases are usually a joy. The family law cases can be tough.
Yeah, and that's one thing, because it's no secret that I've been divorced twice, and for the people, and many people that listen to the show, I mean, just from the age demographics that I know, that if people gone through these like heart-wrenching, terrible parts of their life where they need someone like you to help guide them through and hopefully make it as easy as possible.
Divorces are hard. I mean, a lot of you that are listening have experienced it, or your parents did, or whatever. So divorces are very difficult for people. And the plan with me would be just to get them done on time and under budget with a handshake at the end.
Okay, and I've never heard that before, because I unfortunately, I was spending a lot of time in courtrooms and seeing stuff like that it seems like, the guys maybe that aren't doing well, or maybe they need to pay off their boat or something, string things along as long as they can.
I would never cast aspersions. I tell you, you might be surprised. The family law bar in Lake County is mostly fantastic people.
Yeah.
Most of those lawyers I get along with. The strength of our bench, which means the judges in Lake County, is good. Our bench is good. Our bar is good. There are a couple of lawyers that I'm like, oh, I got a case with her again. Or, oh, I got a case with that guy.
Right.
Because sometimes the law, just like maybe more than some other professions, can attract people with like a type of personality that's annoying. I don't know. I don't want to. I'm not a psychiatrist or psychologist, so I can't say. Like, all my clients come in and they say, "Oh, my husband, he's a narcissist," or like, "He's gaslighting me." People like those psychological sort of terms from today,
right?
Like the now times. Like, we didn't know what narcissism and gaslighting was in 1997,
right?
Or I didn't, but now I do for sure. Right. All my clients are like, "He's gaslighting me. He's a narcissist. He's a blah blah."
1 minute, your world is normal. The next, it's gone. A flood, a fire, a crime scene. Your home shattered. Your business shut down. Your life on pause. But in the darkest hour, when chaos knocks at your door, that's when Serve Pro of Northwest Lake County shows up. Not just a company, not just a cleanup crew, but neighbors, parents, coaches, locals who care. Drake and his team aren't just restoring properties. They're restoring peace, restoring dignity, restoring lives. So when your worst day arrives, call the oh no guy, who becomes your thank God guy. Serve Pro of Northwest Lake County. Locally owned, nationally known, unshakably trusted. From devastation to restoration. Serve Pro, Northwest Lake County.
Hey neighbors, this is Bill Mock with the Grayslake Chamber of Commerce. And if you're looking for a network of hard-working, customer-focused, and generally friendly local businesses who are dedicated to helping each other succeed, then I'd like to invite you to check out and consider joining our Grayslake Chamber. We offer our members so many ways to advance their businesses through social networking events, special event sponsorships, informative lunch and learns, and the ever-popular after-hours mixers. Come see why we say we're the new wave of business here in Lake County.
Well, this time of day, everything needs a label, right?
They throw those labels around, which, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It helps me to identify at least. Now, I don't know if the person saying he's a narcissist means that really she's right and he is a narcissist, or if it just is helping me to flag this case is going to be a little bit tougher than maybe some other ones.
Truth.
Right?
I can see that.
It's like like in internet now, I'm sure people are like watching TikTok, like, red flag. Like, I see red flags when those kind of cases walk in.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I'm sure things change like that too. Okay, so I want to go back a little because it's very interesting that for me, if I was doing your job, I would love it that you could do one day, like you have a murder thing.
Totally.
But then you can have a family law case or maybe help a dad get custody of his child. Like, at least there's a little variety for it, right?
It's interesting. I mean, today I had a couple of DUIs up. And DUIs are like a bread and butter type case for a criminal defense attorney because most people, especially in Grayslake, especially in Lake County, they're not murderers. They're not gang members. But an otherwise good dude or an otherwise good lady who is not necessarily manifesting a criminal intent, like, I'm going to go shoplift. It's a guy saying, I've had too much to drink, I'm going to drive. He's making a dumb choice to drive home, but he's not having the criminal intent, like, I want to endanger somebody tonight. Right? And so a DUI is usually the first time that somebody that's a good person is in hot trouble.
Okay. Gotcha. And, you know, it's got to be nice to, some of these, I'm sure, having satisfaction to be able to help people out and help them navigate through things they have no idea what they're getting into, right?
So, okay, I used to work for a really fantastic attorney in Round Lake Beach. And I want to make sure to give a shout out to Round Lake Beach. That is an awesome town full of super awesome people. And this lawyer I used to work with named Bruce Shotland, he taught me a lot, and he's still out in Round Lake. He's a competitor of mine, but I really respect him. And when I started working for him, he said, Alan, we love helping people for money. And I'm like, yeah, I love helping people for money.
Right. Well put.
Right.
It wouldn't be as fun as if you didn't get paid for it.
No, but I mean, and that, you know, it's a business. You want to help people for money.
Right.
Right. So, and I'm not trying to sound cold. I do some pro bono.
I know what you mean.
But I don't do pro bono divorces. No way. They're too hot. They take too long. I'll do a pro bono traffic ticket. Yeah. I'll give people, I used to volunteer at a safe place.
Right.
And they have a battered women's shelter in Zion.
Yes.
And I used to go there and I used to talk to the ladies about free legal advice. How can I help you? They have questions about everything. And I would just volunteer and talk to them. I love that. But a really hot case to do pro bono is a big mistake for an attorney, in my opinion.
Yeah.
An attorney in my position, I'd say.
Right. Okay. So the one thing that really that I found appealing when I was looking through, when we got connected and I went through your website and I was looking at things like places like a safe place, like those are people that really need help, right?
Yeah. It's tough.
I tip my hat to you for going in there and helping out, because I know there's a list of different things that you do to give back, which is extremely generous of you.
Thanks. I just signed up to do the mock interviews at Libertyville High School. That's cool. A cool program.
Yeah, cool.
That high school has a really good program where they have these kids that are in the business class, and you give them mock interviews to, you know, improve their skills, to hone their interviewing abilities. And I was blown away by how great the kids were.
Really?
I was like, you're really smart. Wow, you're really smart. Wow, what an active, wonderful person. And I was like a bump on the log when I was in high school. I wasn't active like that.
I would have loved to seen what my interview would have been like in high school.
I don't know. They were fantastic. But so some of this stuff I do, in Libertyville. I've been active in Grayslake because I lived in Grayslake for many years over there on West Trail. Mm-hmm. My mom lives in Harrion Farms. And, we were living in Grayslake ever since about the turn of the millennium. So that wave of people, that like third wave of immigrants to Grayslake that began in the 90s when they started building the
West Trail
subdivisions.
And Harrion Farms, right. Yes, I was one of the first off the Mayflower, too, when I landed at Avon on the Prairie, one of the first ones off of Atkinson. That was like one of the first things that wasn't in, Grayslake proper, so to say.
Right.
Right.
That's where we showed up.
So then how long ago was that?
So we moved here in like 2001.
Okay.
So my mom and dad bought a place in Grayslake on West Trail North in Harrion Farms. And I remember the first day we came to Grayslake. I'm from Flossmoor, Illinois.
Okay. I was just going to say, where did you originally come from?
I'm from Flossmoor. I went to Homewood Flossmoor High School.
All right.
I was born in Harvey at Ingalls. But that's why sometimes I get like a Chicago accent. I don't know, whatever. It's like but Flossmoor is a nice town in the 90s. I mean, it's like the Lake Bluff of the South Side,
Okay.
So we had a good time growing up.
They should put that on their sign, by the way.
Yeah, right. The Lake Bluff of the South Side.
I need a T-shirt that says that.
I mean, it is. I mean, it's kind of like being the tallest midget,
Exactly.
I mean, but no offense to people that are little people. I love them too. But I don't know where I was going with that.
We're talking about growing up in Homewood, Flossmoor.
Grew up there. So then I came to, I lived in Champaign because I went to school down at U of I in Champaign, and it was fantastic. And my parents moved up to Grayslake. So I come up to Grayslake, and on our first day, the restaurant they took me to was Bill's Pub North.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
In Gage's Lake. And I just thought in my mind, I'm like, I'm in the woods. My parents moved to Wisconsin. Where am I? I'm like, this is the woods. I'm here in Wisconsin. There's a polar bear hanging there, and there's fish every on the wall. And I thought, this is great. And it turned out Lake County's not quite Wisconsin, but it's close.
It's an interesting perception, I guess, if you've never been here and that's the place they took you to.
The only thing I had done with Grayslake before that, when my parents moved here, was go to Prairie Crossing.
Okay.
Because my aunt and uncle lived in Prairie Crossing, which is interesting. I wouldn't say the word weird, but it's an anomalous little part of the world. Prairie Crossing is.
Absolutely.
I had never seen anything like that before because I think that community at the time was novel and maybe still is. So I thought that all Lake County was like that, and then I saw Bill's Pub, and I went, "Oh my gosh, I'm in Wisconsin. What's going on?"
You have no idea where you're at.
Am I at the UP? Good. I mean, how is 10 feet of snow? You know,
Right.
I came from 708, you know, the land of good pizza and terrible baseball. Now here I am
from the Lake Bluff of the South Side.
Right.
Yes, that's awesome. Okay, so when you're studying law, so when you went to U of I, you go law school?
No, so I was an undergrad at U of I.
Okay.
And then I went to law school at DePaul.
We're taking a quick break just to say hello because everybody knows Nano, and Nano knows real estate. And actually, I believe that's the name of her Instagram page. So if you're looking to buy a home, sell a home, or know somebody in the market for a home, contact Nano from Baird & Warner. She's a Grayslake girl helping out Grayslake people.
So,
and when you went to law school, did you know what you wanted to practice?
Yeah, so I don't mean to be like whatever, a little bit emotional or emo in the interview, but it was September 11th of 2001, right? And you probably remember that day. But I could remember that day. I wanted a date with the girl. I looked in the sky and I saw there was no jet contrails. What a crazy day. And after that day, I thought to myself, I would like to be in law enforcement because I'd like to help our country for, I don't know, because America. I like America.
Amen.
And I was mad. I'm 9/11, right? I mean, come on.
Everybody was, yes.
So, but after that, I thought I'd go into criminal law. I thought I wanted to be a prosecutor. So then I got a job with Mike Waller at the state's attorney's office. And I tell you, Mike Waller, I owe him everything. I love the guy. I know some people don't, but he's a politician. There's people that hate his guts, people that love and support him. He always was a gentleman to me. And I just thought that the decision-making he made was good, and he gave me a job saving my bacon, you know. And so I got to begin my career as a prosecutor, and I was a line assistant state's attorney in Waukegan. They start you off as a DUI assistant. So, brand new 25-year-old kid, I was prosecuting DUIs, misdemeanor DUIs, right? Misdemeanor traffic cases out in the branch courts. And that was very good, fulfilling, fun work. I liked it.
Okay.
You know?
You did.
And then they switched me to just misdemeanor stuff, and I was prosecuting your retail thefts. And back when weed was illegal, I was prosecuting your weed cases and your trespassing, and here's your fights. And then they stuck me in the domestic violence division for a long time.
Okay.
So
how was that?
Okay.
Tough.
You know Lou Frank?
Of course.
Okay. Lou Frank is a fantastic Grayslaker, and he would say, felt like 5 minutes underwater, you know. To be a line assistant in the domestic violence courtroom is hard.
I bet.
Because you have to look at the cases and are you familiar with the cycle of violence? This is this theory.
I am not.
Okay, so it's a theory that's a big part of criminal prosecutions of domestic violence. And the cycle of violence goes like this. Right now we're having a fight. And I'm going to use the gender of he and she, whatever. But sometimes women can be the victim of domestic violence. Sometimes guys can. But in a classic situation, let's say he slaps her, okay? Then she calls the police. He's arrested. But then in a few days, she's like, maybe he's not that bad, or I need him out of jail so he can, work and pick up our kid from school. You've been a parent, you know? And so maybe she takes him back, and then they have a honeymoon period where it's, passionate, we love each other, and then it can happen again.
Yep.
And that cycle of violence, the state's attorney's office was really keen to interrupt it, right? But then that meant that lots of times you'd have the victims, recanting. They'd say, hey, that didn't happen like that, or I'm not coming to court, And so that was frustrating. And then sometimes you had cases, not all, sometimes you had cases where it was a situation where the family's going through a domestic violence thing, but maybe what it really is a child custody thing. And somebody's ringing the bell of domestic violence to get a leg up on somebody in a child custody type proceeding, right?
Wow.
Like I'm going to get an order of protection against him, so I get our kid. Which, I get that, but you need to really be careful about abuses of the system. So as a line assistant with the state's attorney's office, back then, things have changed a little bit now.
Sure.
They have had two different changeovers between the state's attorney. But anyway, long story short, you still have to use your discretion to decide what really happened. And at least at the time I was a state's attorney, we were empowered with a good amount of discretion. It was awesome.
Really?
So
yeah, and I'm sure with that too, like you probably get to be a really good read of people, but then sometimes you probably think you are, and then people bamboozle whatever, and you probably don't even know.
I mean, you ever been lied to by your own kid?
Right.
I mean,
you believe him.
Yeah, and then you believe him, and you're like, I have egg on my face. I was lied to and conned.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so sometimes you just you don't have a lie detector that buzzes when she lies or he lies. You don't know. So you have to do your best with what the facts are. But there was a good team at the time. But yeah, I did 2.5 years as a domestic violence prosecutor. And then so when I left the state's attorney's office, I thought to myself, well, I've been doing family law cases basically already.
Mm-hmm.
I may as well do them as a business.
Sure.
You know, so that's what I did. So now my practice is a hybrid. That's why I say divorces and DUIs. It's family law cases, and then it's criminal law cases too, because I've done all that.
Wow. So your resume is quite deep of all kinds of different things, right?
I guess.
Right.
You know, it's just like, I don't know how other people get through life. This is just what I did.
Right. Well, and everybody, people look at different people, whether you're a doctor, whether you're a lawyer, whether you're a podcaster, whatever you do, that everybody does something for a line of work that, people you deal with very delicate situations, people going through stuff. And especially the one thing about the family law stuff, it must be hard for you to stay. You have to almost train yourself to not get emotionally involved in some of those things, right?
I sometimes do.
Hard.
I remember my first adoption. We had a case that was a very ugly family law case, and it went on a long time. And then at the end of it, the dad, he agreed to put the child up for adoption to the mom and her new husband. Okay? So the dad was making a very hard choice because, to give up your child, and to look in the mirror and say, all right, I wasn't doing that good of a job. This new dude who's married my ex-girl, he'll do better in the best interest of my child. It takes kind of like a man to do that.
That's a big decision, right? It's a big leap of faith.
But on the other hand, too, maybe people are judging him about you walked away from your kid. You didn't fight harder. So it's very tough, And that's the type of case. I remember I had like one manly tear going down my face, looking into my steely-eyed gaze. No, it wasn't. I was bawling like a baby. I was so happy for them,
right.
But also, those are big moments.
Yeah, you see the cool stuff, too.
Yeah.
Right. And to see people come through stuff that they deserve, that the law can either work in your favor or against you. And it's nice when it actually works, right?
It's hard. I will say, okay, I was worried as a kid that I would come into the law and see a lot of weird stuff, like judges tossing cases in exchange for Cubs tickets. I have never seen any of that in Lake County.
Really?
I have never seen anything crooked or weird. Everybody's been really professional. I mean mean that.
Right.
It's not just because I want to keep on working with these people. Most of them are fantastic.
Well, the Cubs haven't been doing that well.
No, they haven't. Better than the White Sox, sadly.
Right. Now, if somebody did something bad for White Sox tickets, we really question what's going on.
I heard you could buy some chili at Wendy's and you get free season tickets to the White Sox.
Right.
A cup of chili at Wendy's.
Well, in all seriousness, it is really good to hear you say that because, everybody watches all these TV shows, every law TV show and court TV show that people have this fantasy of things, how they go along.
I don't ever watch any legal TV at all, ever. I just don't.
That's probably a good idea.
I never do. The last legal movie was probably Liar Liar with Jim Carrey, which is a fantastic movie.
Very serious movie about the law.
I don't, because I like do it for a living,
right.
And then honestly at 5:02 when I'm at home, I'm like, I'll see you tomorrow.
Right.
That sounds like a Monday problem, Al.
Right.
So,
now,
because otherwise you go insane.
No, yeah, well, and everybody needs a break from their job. Nobody wants to go home and do it.
No.
And that's why, I've been self-employed for a very long time. That's why most self-employed people end up getting an office in hopes that when you go to the office, you can leave your work there and go home.
Bingo.
If they can make that work.
That's why I don't work from home ever.
Yeah, well, good for you.
I guess ever is a word. I don't never say never. I don't like to work from home, and I very, very, very seldom do it.
Right. Okay. That's good. Let's do something, because I have a couple other questions to ask you. But you've said you've listened to a couple podcasts.
Sure.
So we do something about halfway through called the Grayslake Hot Seat, where we have some rapid-fire questions to get to know you just a little bit better.
I ain't scared of nothing.
Remember when you said, are these open-ended questions, or is this an interrogation or whatever?
I ain't scared.
Right.
The Grayslake Hot Seat is brought to you by Joe Velez at JPV Financial. It's often said that those who fail to plan are planning to fail. Joe Velez and his team at JPV Financial create unique financial plans that address some of the most difficult challenges that people might face as they get older. No matter what stage of life you're in, having a proactive financial plan can help navigate some of the difficult decisions you'll face, helping you live your life by design, not default. Securities and investment advisory service offered through Osaic Wealth Inc. Member FINRA SIPC. Now for the Grayslake Hot Seat. Hey, thanks, Joe.
This is where we need this we should have done with a surveillance camera to do this. I think it would have been really good.
I've seen lots of those police interviews. I'm looking around for the mirror with the guy behind it.
It is behind there. We just have the newer ones, so to say. Okay, so Grayslake Hot Seat. Did you play a sport in high school in the Lake Bluff of the
swimming? I was on my country club swim team, the Flossmoor Flyers. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds bougie as all get out.
It was kind of bougie, but I mean, at the time I didn't think it was. And at the time I thought I looked fat in that Speedo, but now I look at those pictures, I'm like, you looked awesome.
Right. Well, you get to look back.
I was wearing a Speedo and everything. It was the 90s, man.
Were you good?
I mean, I was okay.
Okay. Gotcha.
I didn't come in last place because I'm kind of tall,
right?
And they made me swim a lot. I mean, in the morning, they would say at 7 o'clock in the morning, do a bunch of laps. And when you're 14, 15, 16, you do that a lot, you get to be fit.
Oh, absolutely. You know, the best exercise.
That was nice. I liked that. I played t-ball as a little kid. But no, swimming was my jam. And then I became a lifeguard. I was a lifeguard for the HF Park District, so that was fantastic.
Yeah, that's not a bad gig to have.
Awesome gig.
Yeah, nice. First car?
Well, Volvo.
Really?
740, a blue, baby blue Volvo 740.
Nice. I'm a Volvo
Which
guy.
It helped me get one of my first girlfriends, who was, honest to God, a Swedish foreign exchange student at my high school.
No way.
Named Anne Marie. Honest to God. And she
got her with a Volvo?
Because they make them in Sweden. And she sees it and she goes, what an awesome car. But I wish it was a Saab.
She did.
She did, totally.
That's so great. And folks, I want you to listen closely. Maybe hit the rewind button there, because that is the first and last time you'll ever hear on this show about how a guy got a girl because of a Volvo.
It was unlikely.
The only reason that will happen.
Totally.
Right.
But that was my Volvo. That was my in with the Swedish girl. I was fine by me.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
And they don't make many blue ones like that either. So.
It was cool. It was a baby blue Volvo. I mean, whatever. I don't think it was. No, it wasn't cool. But it got me from A to B, and my whatever, man.
Hey, I got 200,000 on mine sitting in the parking lot.
I had a Dodge Neon for a while. Love that Dodge Neon. Right? I can talk about cars.
Yeah, you were. Yes, the two of the hottest cars I could think of off the top of my head. Well, speaking of that, so this is what. Maybe this would be a fun one for you. What's the fastest you've ever gone in a vehicle?
Well, like an airplane, like 70 miles an hour?
We'll leave that out.
Like in a car?
In a car.
I don't know, 100.
Just 100?
You know, yeah, because, I mean, I was a kid and stepping on it.
Right.
And nowadays, if you do that, like, I never do that anymore. I don't speed anymore. Because the consequences, and I don't mean like death and dismemberment. Yeah, that happens. That sucks.
Legal consequences.
Yeah, the cops light you up, you know, and the cases are Class A misdemeanors. And they're punishable by up to a year in jail and or a fine of $2,500.
Wow.
Back when I was a prosecutor, I became friends with some police, and maybe they don't say this anymore, but I used to hear 9-year fine, 11-year mine. Okay? All right, which is consistent with my lived experience.
Going 9 miles over?
9-year fine, 11-year mine is what the police would say. And that bears with what I've seen. During the time that I've done lots and lots of traffic tickets as a prosecutor and as a defense attorney, and you never see somebody getting pulled over for 5 over.
Right.
You know, they are looking at you for 11 to 15, starting at 11, maybe 15. Now 20, they want you.
Right.
You know, but like I said, 9-year fine, 11-year mine. I think that's pretty good. That's the advice I give a lot of the kids that I represent.
This is Bob Churchill. I know you are always there for your family, caring for your children, your spouse, and even your parents. But in critical times, will you be able to make decisions that assure the best result for your family? A power of attorney may be necessary if, on behalf of a loved one, you need to talk to a doctor, a bank, or the college infirmary. A power of attorney may sound daunting, but the lawyers at Churchill Quinn, Hamilton, and Van Doncelar can easily create this document for you. We are right here in Grayslake, supporting the community for over 122 years. Reach out to us at grayslakelaw.com or call us at 847-223-1500. Whether you need a power of attorney, a will, or legal help with your business, we'll take care of you so you can care for others. Go to grayslakelaw.com today for more information. Have a wonderful day, and now back to the program.
Interesting. That's good advice, too, which is funny. I won't tell you how fast I've gone then, because I would not have been fine. Tell me somewhere you would like to travel that you have not been.
So I've been like Johnny Cash. I've been everywhere. You know, I have been to lots of different places in this country because my wife is a maniac for travel. She loves it. And we have little kids, and we take road trips. But we had little kids. Now they're getting old. My oldest is a sophomore in high school.
Oh, my gosh, it goes fast.
It does.
It really just moves.
So fast.
And then I think I heard you have a 10-year-old, too, right?
He's a wonderful guy, awesome guy. But yeah, I have a 16, a 12, and a 10. And we've always done road trips around the country. I don't know. Early ones were Tennessee and Kentucky, Upper Peninsula of Michigan, all through Wisconsin, Indiana, out to Maine, East Coast, Florida a lot of times. We've flown out to California, Utah, and Nevada. So around the country. And then I lived in Europe briefly. I lived in London for a few years.
Did you really? How cool is that?
My mom, she was a lawyer at Amoco, right? The gasoline company.
Yeah.
You know, Amoco. They used to have that big white tower in downtown Chicago, the Amoco building, right?
Absolutely.
Formerly Standard Oil of Indiana. John Rockefeller's thing, and then they trust busted it, Monopoly busted it.
Right.
So, but Amoco, if you remember, in the 90s merged with BP, British Petroleum. So they moved my mom's job from Chicago to London, so we lived there for a while. And I was kind of in school in Champaign and going to London in the summertime. That was awesome.
Yeah, especially at that age. I bet it was really cool.
I worked at a bar. I worked at a pub called the Prince Albert.
Stop it.
Honest to God. It was awesome.
Folks, this isn't a real interview, just so you know. I just brought one of my buddies in just to start.
I worked at a pub called the Prince Albert, and it was in Notting Hill, right? You remember Notting Hill with the Hugh Grant movie?
Yep.
You've probably never seen that movie.
I've seen the movie poster.
Saw the poster.
Yes.
So Hugh Grant, I thought he was good in the D&D movie, but I never saw Notting Hill, but I worked in Notting Hill. So yeah, I don't know, travel places.
There's nothing that you have like a bucket list I gotta go there.
I don't need to go to Thailand. I don't know. I guess if I had infinite money, I'd travel Europe again. I like it.
Sure.
You know.
But to the age of your kids, it sounds like you did your traveling and you did what you wanted to. And your kids have got some of the best education that kids can get is traveling all over the United States.
Sure.
The United States is cool.
It's fantastic. And when you travel the United States, the other day I was coming back from Florida on I-65. We stopped at the Buc-ee's in Athens, Alabama. Which is, Buc-ee's is like a if you know what Buc-ee's is.
Of course.
Yeah, it's a giant gas station in front of a giant Walmart, basically. Or maybe more like a Kmart. But
one of my
crazy place.
One of my favorite things, if anybody goes on TikTok right now, there's a woman that explains what Buc-ee's is. And it's the most brilliant thing I've ever seen in my whole life.
I love it.
If you want to feel like you're true white trash, she explains exactly what it is. And because we all get excited to go to a Buc-ee's, right?
My kids were stupid excited. They were, and I'm like, guys, it's a gas station that's in front of a Kmart. What are you talking about?
Exactly what it is.
I mean, whatever. Back in the old days, Kmart used to have barbecue sandwiches too.
True. So. You just couldn't get a puzzle, a sweatshirt, and a corned beef sandwich.
All
at the same time.
It's a fantastic.
That's hilarious.
So I've traveled around. It's
right.
Great. I like to travel.
I like that Buc-ee's was one of the highlights on your trip of coming back.
It kind of was.
It's kind of fun, and we're getting one close to here now. I keep seeing the signs.
God love them.
Yeah,
God love them. I hope that they take over. I'm ready for Buc-ee's to be the only employer in the United States.
Did we talk? What was your first job? When you were lifeguard? Was lifeguard your first job?
Yeah, I was a lifeguard.
Did we call that a job? Is that
totally.
a job? Oh, really?
Man, lifeguarding could be my career. That is a fantastic job.
Maybe when you want to retire, you could go back and be a lifeguard.
My uncle, actually, he was like a car salesman and stuff. And then when he retired, he used to be a lifeguard at his apartment complex. Like, that's
Really?
a great job, dude. Come on.
Wow. Maybe when I grow up, I'll look into that.
Be a lifeguard. It's cool.
I'm gonna check
It's
it
cool.
out. I think it could be a tad creepy if I applied at the Grayslake pool right now.
No,
at the aquatic center.
they need people that with maturity and experience.
Oh yes.
I
have a shirt that says that's my requirements.
And it was nice. And I worked at Jewel.
Really?
I worked at the library in Flossmoor. I mean, it was great.
So you had a lot of different jobs.
Yeah.
So you actually were taught some work ethic as a child from your parents as well.
Well, they worked hard. My parents, they loved each other. They stayed together the whole time. They were both lawyers. They worked, and I just wanted to work.
Right.
I don't know.
They said very good examples, right? Too.
Thanks.
That's awesome. First concert you ever attended?
Man, I don't know. Okay, it was the World Music Center. Right, Q101 had one of those concerts that's like it wasn't Twisted Christmas. It's the one they did in the summertime, and I remember that Garbage, Jamiroquai, Mighty Mighty Boss Tones,
nice,
were there. I mean, that's like awesome. And I went with a Swedish girl.
Really?
So yeah, I went with
did you drive the Volvo there though?
Maybe. I might have got dropped off by my parents.
Right.
So
okay too. Good concert.
But I saw the Smashing Pumpkins down there, but that was a different day.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Billy Corgan, loved that guy.
Yes. Billy was at, because I DJ'd forever. I forget where they're from, around North Shore.
Yeah, right.
And I was hanging out and I was doing a daddy-daughter dance. And a guy came up that looked a lot like Billy Corgan and asked for a song. And I told him no.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't really appropriate.
Yeah, right.
And then somebody came back and one of the people said, well, Mr. Corgan asked for a song. And I guess you told him that you weren't going to play it. And I'm like, okay, well, it just didn't fit with what we're going to do because I like to think that I do the right thing, right?
Sure.
When you work music, you do the right thing for the party. You got to know your audience, unless it's Billy Corgan, and then you just say
just do what he says.
Right.
Despite all my rage. He's awesome. Billy's the best.
And it wasn't a pumpkin song, though.
Oh, that's too bad.
I wish I knew what the song was, though, to look back.
I would think that Billy loves putting on pumpkin songs.
Yeah.
I would think that he listens to Pumpkins all the time.
He's driving around right now listening to...
But only his new stuff, because his old stuff is for posers. He's like, that old stuff, I'm over it. Only my new stuff. Only Billy and Machines of God I'm going to listen to right now.
Oh, my God, that's
Stay
hilarious. If you had to have a superpower, what would it be?
Being the greatest golfer ever.
Really?
Yeah, come on.
Okay, that would be good. But then you wouldn't have... Would it be any fun? Because then you beat everybody. All the time.
But yeah,
or you could play with people though.
Then you'd be good at golf, and that's what my dream would be. I would love. I'm not that good at golf. I wish I were.
Okay.
I practice, and the people that are naturally gifted, I look at them with such envy. Right.
Now being an attorney makes you a better golfer though, doesn't it? Like doctors and attorneys and Yeah,
and some of the attorneys really suck, which is great because I can just stuff them. These old guys especially that don't play that much. Oh, I'm way better than them. That makes me feel so good about myself just to stuff them. Yeah, a nice shot, counsel.
That's fantastic. What do you wish you learned sooner in life?
Spanish.
Really?
Totally, dude.
It's a great answer.
Spanish. Man.
Wow. Okay, so young people, people in high school, people going into I have to tell them it's probably one of the best things you can do, right? As an education level, just
your friends, your coworkers, your clients. Learning Spanish is awesome. I personally have a super awesome legal assistant. And she is bilingual, and she helps me do so much. So I shout out to Crystal. Crystal, you're fantastic. But like I said, if only I had paid more attention in school and I was better at Spanish, I wish.
Right.
Yeah.
No, and it's really that's a great answer. Maybe I'll start learning a different language. Have you ever eaten a roller dog from a gas station?
No.
Really?
No.
With all the road trips you've taken?
I don't do that, man.
Maybe you're just smarter than me.
Because I'm worried about dying from bacteria. It's only 10 more hours to Chicago. We got to stop 11 times.
Or having explosive diarrhea on a road trip.
I've never eaten I've bought stuff at gas stations, beer. I've bought smokes. Right. I've bought lots of things. But if I'm gonna shop for food at gas stations, it's probably beef jerky.
They do have some
coffee, beef jerky, maybe some candy.
Okay, nice. What's the chance that Bigfoot exists?
0%.
Really?
It's a hoax.
Really?
Yeah, I don't believe in any
so?
cryptids.
Really?
Aliens, I'm not sure. Ghosts, I don't believe in.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay, we were friends right up until, let's see, what's the mark on there? 3605.
It's okay. You think that Bigfoot exists?
I think that the best answer I ever got from it was from Dr. Terry Selke, our wonderful one of the biggest philanthropists in town, who's an orthodontic specialist of Lake County. Big shout out, Terry. He said that we think about all the things that we've gone through, like from history, from dinosaurs to like all this thing. He's like, if you don't think it's a distinct possibility that we have a Bigfoot, maybe not today,
right?
But maybe in the past, like of all the things that we've had, he said. But this guy's been on 20 safaris and he's seen the whole all.
But you would
things.
think that there would be like Bigfoot heads mounted in the Smithsonian,
or at Bill's Pub North,
or at Bill's Pub, definitely. There would be that, and I mean, the fact is, like, I know people lie, and they sometimes lie for attention. So, ergo, could it have been a hoax too? Oh,
maybe.
Right.
And actually, if anybody's watching, I just got this shirt as a gift.
It's cute.
From
very cute.
Logan, Ohio, and they have in the summertime they have a Bigfoot festival there.
Yeah.
So my only thing is, if he doesn't exist, because this podcast is really about Bigfoot, it's not about you, just so you know. But
I hear you.
But why is it such a big hoax everywhere then? Why do they have festivals for it?
Because he's cute. I mean, like, people, people like, they think he's adorable, he's funny, he's like a meme before memes,
I think
man.
he killed people. I think that might be.
What about Harry and the Hendersons? He was nice.
Yeah, that was that's fiction. Like
he was nice,
like
dude.
Notting Hill.
He would always be like, hide bashfully in the closet.
That's
He's
true.
cool.
And John Lithgow was in that too.
He was nice, right? He's always frustrated. Harry did something.
Well, when I have evidence, I'm calling you.
Call me. I would love to be proven wrong about this, and I would be happy to shake Bigfoot's hand.
Okay, good. Because now that we have these new phones that have better, they focus better. Now we'll get a clear picture of them, not just the fuzzy ones.
I only wish that Nessie was existing. The Loch Ness Monster, that's my favorite cryptid, and I have never seen any good proof of that. That's a darn shame.
Yeah. Well, hey, you never know. We're finding out all kinds of fun things these days. You never know. All right, so I think it's time we switch off of our hot seat questions that we've covered the really important stuff.
Thank you.
One thing I want to thank you for, because I know that you are a part of an organization here, which is the Exchange Club.
Yeah.
So I know that... let's talk for people that aren't familiar with the Exchange Club. What is it based upon? Okay,
so the Exchange Club is cool. It's really an old organization. It's from, 1913. And it is a group that I like in Grayslake because I just get together with my friends and have lunch.
Right.
So it's a bunch of business and community leaders, or not even. I mean, I don't know. Some of them are just regular people. We have I don't want to say a retired teacher's not a community leader, but, retired teachers come. And we had a retired accountant lady for a long time and, people that are just townies, right? And they come on, they have lunch. We're at First Draft. It's noon. If anybody wants to come to the Exchange Club, it's free lunch. Call me. Right. 847-549-0600. You can be my guest. But I like the Exchange Club because the main thing is that they plan big parties for the town.
Yep.
They have the craft beer festival. They do stuff with Taste at Grayslake downtown summer thing.
Yep.
And
which we change the name of all the time. Summer Days. Now.
Summer Days.
Summerfest.
They do cool stuff. They raise money and then they give that money away to kids in Grayslake to go to school.
Right. Sips for scholarships. That's what the craft beer festival is. Yes.
And then they're and it's good money. They're like, here's $1,000, kid, and it's a Grayslake student that's a top student to go to college. They do good stuff like that. They promote Americanism. What is that? It is what. It's that. Americanism is like liking 9/11 and being interested in our country and like,
right.
So it's a cool organization. Check it out.
Yeah, and I like all the nice things they do, and the men and women that are involved in that. I happen to be fond of a lot of them.
Yeah.
I think the one day I knew nothing about the Exchange Club, and I think it was the day that you guys were doing your you had picked a couple of kids for scholarships. Sure. You were giving them, and I saw these kids. First of all, I was walking down to have an afternoon beer at First Draft or something like that. So I saw these two kids like walking back to school and they had these big smiles on their faces, right? So I get to the bottom and a bunch of the Exchange Club members are hanging out, and to see these men that were standing there and they were so blown away and so happy and so just straightforward, just happy about what they did. It made me really have a fondness for the organization. I
just want to shout out to the Grayslake kids from North and Central. They're like really fantastic kids. some of the kids that are winning these awards, I mean, back when I was a kid, I tried to get good grades, I tried to do well on my tests, but otherwise I just went home.
How did they get so smart?
I don't, and they have the energy, this boundless energy that is really, it's admirable and kind of scary. So God love them. I mean, whatever.
Which is good.
Don't you ever nap? Don't you ever eat too much pizza and then go to sleep?
Right.
I mean, like me.
Right. And especially as a high school kid. Right.
Totally.
And these guys are doing really, really well with things.
Yeah.
Hey, Lake County, I know you know a teacher out there that needs to be recognized. I'm Jody Siegmers, former educator, now realtor, and I'm here representing Educators Advantage. We want you to nominate a Teacher of the Month. Click the link in the show notes and nominate your favorite teacher. Make your favorite teacher feel appreciated and give them a shout out.
Cool. So I love to see people that get involved with organizations, especially like when going back to like the safe place kind of things. So explain this to me too. Are there more than one location for Safe Place? Because there's one in Zion. Is there also one in Mundelein?
So, okay, that is the Family Visitation Center. Okay. That, I believe, has moved. Okay. So you'd want to check with Safe Place about the details. For when I was involved in the organization, they had two places. They had a women's shelter that was like a big apartment building in Zion, and it's tucked away, so you don't know about it, right? God love them. But then they also have a really important role that they play having to do with facilitating visitation or exchanges of parties that have like OPs against each other, orders of protection.
Yep.
Okay. So you've got to go there, you like drop off your kid in the front, and then dad comes in the back, and then they have like a meeting and they hang out for an hour and have pizza, and then there's people watching, like little child Jimmy smiled when he saw dad. Right. And they take notes and they give that to the court. And the Safe Place, like honestly, so many exchanges, so much visitation just couldn't happen because of the acrimony between the parties, but for what a Safe Place does. So they're cool. They're fantastic.
Yeah.
I love them.
And it's nice, and I like places that are put together that look for the best for the children and to keep them safe too, and keep, because sometimes just two people just don't get along. So it's a nice way they can get in there.
It's one of the toughest things about family cases is when you have a tremendous amount of acrimony, even like a good divorce where it's just, I don't love him anymore. You've got to co-parent the kid. But when it's a situation where it's like, he raped me, or he beat me up, or he got 6 DUIs, or he whatever, those cases, the judges are very reluctant to totally shut out a parent. So they'll give him or her, sometimes it's a her, supervised visitation, wrangled by a Safe Place or supervised by perhaps somebody else like a mom or grandma, whatever. Okay. But those organizations that facilitate the best interest of the kid and the parenting time, the courts, I don't know how they could function before that Safe Place started doing that.
Yeah, no, it must be a really, really hard thing to do. But one of the things that I really enjoy, I have to tell you, because I was having a conversation before we got together today, and a man was whose potential guest on their show was asking me my motivations on why he wanted to come on, and the guy clearly wanted to come on and just advertise his business, right? And I was trying to explain to him that these are the conversations you and I are having right now that I really like, that very soon, hopefully, we're going to have Chief Myra, Chief of Police, on, because I really like humanizing. Some people have jobs or positions that people don't really get to know, right?
Cool.
So if I had to hire somebody for a family attorney or a DUI attorney or a criminal attorney, I hope that I get to listen to this show so that they get to know your personality, to know that you're a human being, right? My
personality is unique, but there are a lot of really good attorneys in Lake County. I'm happy to help people, whatever.
Yeah. Well, no, and I think it's nice.
I like to be humble. I'm not trying to
you're very
put myself
humble
out there.
Right.
I'm not trying to be like, oh, yeah, I'm like the only one around. Because I'm not. Right. And like I said, in Lake County, we're blessed with a strong bench and bar.
Right.
And honestly, I get along with just about all of them.
That's cool. Okay, so let's do this because of people. So let's to help our listeners out. They're listening. So let's talk, first of all, when starting a divorce proceedings, like they know they're going to get divorced, maybe some advice on how they go about finding an attorney that would be right for them. Is that a hard question?
Yeah, so finding an attorney, I mean, a lot of people want to do word of mouth. They talk to their cousin. Hi, you got divorced in Lake County. tell me who'd you use, and then call that guy. That's probably a good decision.
Or they'll tell you who not to use.
Right.
In their opinion, though.
Totally.
Right. Maybe the decision didn't go their way, so it could be the false information, right?
Totally. A lot of people just go to Google, and they'll Google, like, Libertyville divorce attorney or Lake County divorce attorney or whatever. And you can get hits there, and you look at their Google reviews. My law firm has fantastic reviews, but that's just because we try to just, do a good job and then clear the case.
Right.
Because, like, if you take one guy's divorce case and you're like a vampire on his neck and you drain him till he's totally out of blood, well, that's one case. Okay, I'd rather just, like, help a guy and then get a good review, and help another guy and get a good review, and help a guy and get a good review, and then just, like, kind of build it up that way. That's way better.
Right. And with integrity, when you're walking away, then you can sleep at night and make sure that you know that you get to help people out.
I sleep at night.
Right. That's good.
Yeah.
All right. So how about DUI?
So, okay, how to find a DUI attorney or...
Yeah.
So, same thing.
I know how to get one. I'm
not the
attorney.
So, I use lifts now.
Yes.
I really do.
It's the cheapest thing to do, right?
It's $20 here and back, and you don't have to worry about, am I going to get in trouble?
Right.
And you don't have to worry about, am I going to hurt somebody or whatever. So.
Yeah, I heard somebody, maybe it was another stupid social media thing I saw, but they were getting, like, it was a $20 ride home, right? For, let's say I have to go from Grayslake up to Atkinson, like, at the bar. How many lift rides would it take to equal... would it cost to hire an attorney to go through the DUI process?
So I think it was NHTSA, the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration. One of those organizations used to run a billboard campaign here in Lake County, and one of the billboards I remember was a picture of a kid blowing into a portable breath test, and there's the police Mars lights behind him, and it says, "You just blew $10,000."
Most people have no idea what to do with their aging loved one who needs help. Well, there is a solution. A company that provides care and assistance to make your loved one feel right at home. At Right at Home, their mission statement is to improve the quality of life for those they serve. They offer extensive services: personal and companion care, safety supervision and transportation, fall prevention, dressing and bathing assistance, medical reminders, meal prep, hospice support, ambulation support, stroke recovery, Parkinson's support. The list goes on and on and on. If you have an aging loved one that needs help, call Right at Home. Most people prefer to age in their home rather than moving to an assisted living or nursing home. Right at Home can make this happen. Contact Right at Home at rightathomenlc.com or give them a call, 847-984-0103. Now back to the show.
Which I think is, like, not inaccurate.
$10,000.
Right? Because, so the legal fees, like, I don't know, cheap one, $2,500, a hot felony DUI, 5, 6, 8, whatever, $1,000. So that's good money there. But even for your first time misdemeanor DUI, you're spending $2,500, $3,500 on a lawyer. And then you get the fines, the court costs.
Hassle.
They're $3,000 or $4,000. There's treatment that you must do, so you do alcohol risk evaluations and pay for the classes, and then woo-woo. It gets to be expensive. So,
yeah.
And like I said, and everybody hates you. It's the shame.
Right. And it is the shame for it, right?
Shame.
Yes. So with that, too, hire an attorney for that, you suggest to either kind of same thing, word of mouth.
Yeah.
Listen to this
not talking
podcast.
about call me or call somebody else who's good,
right.
That people know. And definitely I would recommend that you're hiring an attorney in the community in which you got the DUI. So,
That's great advice.
If you're getting a DUI in Champaign, you don't want to bring some Chicago attorney, right? You want to hire, like, the dude from Champaign who's been practicing there, and he sees the judge and goes, "Hi, Randy."
Right.
That's what you want.
Right.
You don't want the guy coming down with the D's and Dems and those from the south side of Chicago. That's not what Champaign wants to see.
Right. And that's just human nature. That's probably to do with anything in the world,
For
right?
Sure.
That's awesome.
For sure. So an established name that is from there.
Wow. I find it interesting. So did you know, with both your parents were attorneys, right?
Right.
So how old were you when you were like, this is what I'm going to do?
Like 23.
Yeah. Until then.
I was old because I didn't really. I don't know. The kids that are coming up through the Grayslake Central, Grayslake North, they seem to know what they want to do. They're like, I want to be this kind of thing when I'm a junior in high school. I didn't know. I was like, I want to graduate high school. Okay, now I'm going to go to college. Which one? That one. Okay, now what I want to do? I guess I'll work in an office.
Right.
You know, and I didn't know anything. I thought I might sell life insurance, but it wound up that I got into law school, and then that was that. So, you know, and like I said, 9/11 really wanted me to get into law enforcement.
Right.
I really was like motivated by a patriotic thing. I don't know if that's cool or not, but I thought it was.
No, I think it's really
that was
cool.
important.
No, and it gives you a reason, and sometimes it takes a while for us to find our purpose, right?
Right.
And that something that really drives you to change your mind.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty traumatic day for everybody, right? Okay, so what did my I know one thing we were talking about that I want to cover. I do not want to turn this off. Friend Mark Wilhite.
Mark Wilhite's awesome.
You said you may or may not.
So it's a story. And it has
Can we tell the story?
Yeah, we can tell the story. So I want to, maybe a trigger warning has to do with death, right?
Right.
So Mark Wilhite's a fantastic guy. He's in the Exchange Club, and he is the manager, or maybe now the owner, of Strang Funeral Chapel over there on 120.
Yep.
Okay, across the street from St. Gilbert. And very sadly, about 10 years ago, my wife's stepdad died. Okay, and his name also was Mark. Fantastic guy. He was only in his 50s, and he had an accident where he fell off a ladder and died from it. Okay, very sad. So it was a surprise. Terrible. Everyone was sad. But at the time, our Mark, the stepdad Mark, he had grown a long, like, scruffy beard. Okay, and it looked terrible. But so now he passed away, and so his wife told the funeral home, she said to Mark Wilhite, she said, all right, shave off his beard because it looks terrible. And so, of course, Mark Wilhite dutifully shaved off my wife's stepdad Mark's beard and left him looking great, clean shaven. So he's laying there, and our Mark's wife was so mad. She's like, you got rid of his beard and his mustache too. You should have kept his mustache. Now, okay, Mark Wilhite, God love him, was like, all right, well, what we'll do is we'll use some spirit glue and we'll obtain a mustache and we'll put it on him. Okay.
If everybody knows Mark, the story is even 10 times better. And I wanted
to die laughing because our Mark, who had passed away, I wish they didn't have the same name because it's confusing for purposes of this podcast,
Right.
But our Mark, who had passed away, he would have flipped out hilariousness. Do you imagine getting a fake mustache put on him while he's in his coffin? But actually, Mark Wilhite didn't do that. He used a razor, and he cut off some hair, like in a hair transplant, from the back of our Mark's neck, and he built him a mustache out of spirit glue and his own hair. It looked fantastic, like a 10. We couldn't believe it. His mustache looked on point.
Okay, so Mark Wilhite, he is the funniest guy and funny. Handles so many, like he being a funeral director, right?
Tough.
And just shows what, like, a multifaceted human being, right? To cover that and handle it very nice to shave, and then just figuring out, and doing a good job with the stash.
And he didn't laugh. Because I started laughing.
Not then.
Because I knew Mark Wilhite from the Exchange Club, and I'm laughing like, oh, our Mark would have loved this, you know. And Wilhite was very grave about it. Right?
Shout out to you, Mark. That's
love it. Cool
it's
guy.
Just really fantastic. Yeah. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so what haven't we covered? We're getting down towards the end. I know we covered a lot of things. I love to know a lot about people. We got to learn a little bit about your family, your background, what you do. You're obviously very passionate about it, and I like that you still enjoy your job too.
Mostly, cool. I mean, you have bad days and good days, right? It happens sometimes, but to being a lawyer is overall good. I like it. You know, it's like when you have a job, it is such an important part of one's personhood, especially in the United States, where we look at somebody and go like, oh, he's a lawyer, or he's a cop, or he's a teacher, or, you know, whatever. Like, it's a part of your identity more than it is just a source of income for you, you know? And so to be a lawyer in Lake County has been good. It feels good. Nice.
And Lake County must be a good place to work. I like that you have such good things to say about it there.
I like it. And like I said, I've traveled everywhere. Not everywhere. I've never been to Timbuktu. But, you know, I've traveled around it, and I'm like, I come back, and I'm like, you're not too bad. The weather could be better, and unfortunately, sometimes the property taxes are too high. But there's jobs, there's schools, there's really nice people, there's fantastic pizza. I mean, what do you want?
Right. Yeah, and by the courthouse, you got some good food and everything, too. So
Waukegan is hit or miss. There's some fantastic restaurants there. Quonset. I love talking about pizza. Quonset. Come on.
I'm coming after them with my Lake County podcast because I got to hear the Quonset story.
Quonset's fantastic.
Yes.
Their pizza's off the chain.
Yes, and Lino's over there, too.
Fantastic. I love their sandwich shop.
Can't beat it.
Waukegan's got good food. I know on your questionnaire you asked me what my favorite restaurant
in
the world was. My favorite restaurant's Aurelio's in Homewood. The biggest pizza place in the universe, I think. It's the best one. But up here in Grayslake, man, Emel's, they make a good pizza too.
Absolutely do. Absolutely
they do.
Yeah, I'm only there like 3 times a week. So.
Italian Ovens, I think they went belly up, but I used to love Italian Ovens pizza. And like I said, my first restaurant, Bill's, fantastic pizza.
Amen. Amen.
And if I didn't shout out your restaurant, you know what? Improve your pizza.
So you're really a pizza guy is what you're trying to tell us.
All I want in my life. If I could just eat pizza and drink beer, I would. But then I'd look like Jabba the Hutt. So I have to do some other stuff too.
And that lifeguard job would be out the window for your
I just thought I'd get a large swimsuit. It's a one piece.
Right? I'm much more into a one piece these days too.
Right.
That's awesome. Well, I really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time. And hopefully I won't be calling you for anything except for maybe if we find a client for you.
Well, I'd love to come back some other time. I really appreciate it, Dave. Thanks for having me.
All right. I appreciate you, buddy. All right, Grayslake, hey, wherever you guys are listening, do me a favor. Whether you're on Spotify, whether you're on Apple, whether you're on YouTube. We did shoot this one on video, too. So if you want to check out, we are trying to do some more things to put it on YouTube. But the point is to subscribe, because that way every week you will get an alert that on every Tuesday we try to introduce a new guest from Grayslake for you guys to get to know. And I really think it helps build community. And I do recommend to listen to the people that you don't know, because I really think this is like my continuing education. I get to know all these people and all the really cool stuff. And as I always finish too, we never know what our family or friends or even strangers are going through. So get out there and do one random act of kindness. Just be kind. Smile, hold a door, maybe make somebody's life just a little bit better, because those little things can go a long way, and kindness spreads like wildfire. So, Grayslake, thank you very much. Alan, thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. And Grayslake, we will see you next Tuesday, everybody.